Hello. I figured I'd record so you guys can get a sense of where I am mentally and emotionally. Um, for the past month, I would say I've been contemplating certain things like what's my purpose? Why do I start off one moment gun ho about the things I'm going to do, and then something trips me up, or I get distracted and I don't follow through? Anyway, I went to the dentist yesterday, and needless to say, I felt terrified in that chair. I was so tense. I just kept squeezing my hands and just making a fist, kind of like to remind myself it's okay, you're going to be okay. And then I started praying and asking, for guidance and protection. And then the mind, of course, goes drifting where it doesn't need to drift. Like, well, imagine how many people have died at a simple, dentist procedure, because that's what the mind does. The mind will trick you. The mind will get you to the point where you see things that are not necessary or not necessarily the reality. Anyway, with that said, I was writing and I wanted to share my thoughts. I was just saying how I woke up to snow. I looked outside. I saw some animal prints. I know I needed to ground myself, but I wasn't feeling like I felt a year ago, or 2 years ago, when anytime the snow came down, I was hysterical and anxious, and how am I going to do this on my own? How am I going to clean all of this? And now I'm like, it'll get done. It gets done. I'm going to get it done because I'm the one that has to get it done. So with that said, I started asking myself these questions, profound questions, early morning. Like, what really is our purpose? If we come from the collective, if we are part of God and we are part of spirit and we are part of the entire collective that makes up what this universe is, why do we choose to come here to experience trauma, suffering, pain, loss, death? Why do we do that if we're already in a space where we are plugged into unconditional love? We are in a space where we will never ever feel any ailment or sickness while we're in the collective and not in a physical body, right? What prompts us to make a choice? You know what? Out of the entire universe, out of all of the galaxies in the freaking universe, we're going to choose Earth, the smallest speck in the Milky Way. Let's just choose that planet and go there and just experience all the fucked up shit that we come here to experience. So that was my mindset this morning. And then as I was writing, I asked, well, what truly is the purpose? Is it to help others navigate? Is it that we don't know what it feels like to be human, and in order to help a human, we must become one? I don't know. I have many questions. And then I asked, well, what if Jesus came in this era? Not 2,100 years ago, or however long, ever since I can remember. People say 2,000 years ago, but it's been more than that. Probably 2024 years ago, right? It was I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling. I digress. Let me get back to what I was saying. So what if Jesus came in this era? What if he showed up, he was born, let's say last Christmas, and fast forward 10 years from now, 12 years from now, he's a young child and he's moving into the space of training with his dad or whatever. Maybe his father, Joseph, is a stockbroker or financier, who knows. He's successful, but he has a purpose. Christ came here to show the light. What would his behavior be like? What would his distractions be like? I mean, he was 100% man. He didn't come here as an entity. He came here as a human. He came here to reconcile right? If you believe the Bible, because I have to put that out there, not everybody does, but if you do, you know the story. That man sinned, separated themselves from God. In order for God to be reconciled with man, he had to do the ultimate sacrifice, and that was to come to earth as a human form, right? Although we call the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, it's all one, and people can't grasp that. But if you look at an egg is an egg. The shell, the yolk, the white, it all encompasses the egg. It is an egg. When you look for it, you don't say, hey, can I have the shell of the egg, or can I have the yolk of the egg? You're asking for an egg, right? So God became human. And what he did, again, if you believe the story, is that in order for him to reconcile man back to the stage of purity and love and purpose, he had to sacrifice himself. And in doing so, he came here as Jesus, with the understanding that he would go through the trials and tribulations. But he believed that there was more to being human than we do, because he was able to heal people. He was able to free them. He was able to provide them comfort. He never once doubted that he had the ability and that he was the conduit to heal mankind. So my question is, if Jesus was walking the planet today, if he was here with the same purpose he came 2,100 years ago, whatever the case is, would he have, or would he navigate through life in that form? And if so, why is it so difficult for us, me as a human, to understand that I have the ability to heal myself, that I have the ability to manifest the things that I want, that I have the ability to take myself and remove the ego portion that causes me to believe that I'm unworthy, right? Because sometimes the ego will do that. It will knock you down and say, hey, you're not good enough. But there's a purpose for the ego, and this is not what this is about. The question is, if God lives in us, if spirit lives in us, if we are part of the collective, when we die and we remove ourselves from this meat suit and we return back to the collective and we are in the same energy as God, why do we choose to continue with the familiarity of suffering and pain, because that's been our constant companion, as opposed to believing this is all an illusion? I'm here to do a service. What am I here for? What is the service that I need to provide? I know I'm going off on a tangent, but sometimes I need to share my thoughts, because I wonder. And in wondering, I want to return back to unconditional love, freedom, peace. Wondering what it is to wake up and live without being worried, without allowing our thought process to make us believe that we can't achieve what we are supposed to achieve. We have the tools and we have the means. We just need to become disciplined. And I guess in moments like this, when I'm feeling a little out of my comfort zone, I have to ask, what is my purpose? And do I have the courage to go against the grain and show people that everything that they have believed in may not be what's right? And I say that because we live judging others and ourselves. And in doing so, we stop ourselves from evolving. I got to give it to the Buddha. The absence of love is judgment. So whenever I judge myself, I have to remind myself that I'm operating without love for myself. So I choose to love me today, regardless of whatever emotions I'm going through. And I encourage you to do the same. I love you.